So, Invincible Season 4 just ended as of the time recording this video today. And there's been a lot of talk around this season, more specifically around the animation and certain changes to the story and the characters. This video will contain spoilers for Invincible Seasons 1 through 4, so if you don't want to get spoiled, go watch the show. It's great. So, let's get into it. The animation for Invincible has always been controversial. Since Season 2 release, it feels like the entire fandom is on a hate train devoted to hating the animation. Now, I do agree with some a little bit. The animation in Invincible is serviceable, and sometimes can get really good, especially this season. But the show could look so much better. Fan animations capture the show really well, and show what the show could look like if the animation team had more time to work on the show. Because when the animation pops off, it pops off. Obviously, the show can't look this good because of time constraints and having most of the budget go to celebrity cameos for security guard number 2. But most fans don't really care about that and want the show to look exactly like the comic. Now, let's look at this still frame from a comic and this still frame from the show. One of these is stuffed into a 55-minute episode where the good animation is focused on the fights, where the other is in a comic where they don't have a budget to think about or have to animate these characters. Now, tell me why the comics is going to look better every single time. The comic artists also have better working conditions than the animators and have less time constraints, so of course the comic is going to look better. That doesn't mean you have to shit on the show for trying its best with what it's got. Personally, I think the animation this season's great, and it's probably the best of the entire show. And I believe that next season, it'll be even better. This season of Invincible also added some new content to the show that I think largely improves some aspects of the comic. For example, Nolan's apology to Debbie was basically non-existent in the comic. Kinda. The show makes Debbie a much more compelling character, and she's way more fleshed out. Where in the show, she gets way more of a reaction and has her own thoughts and feelings about it. Where in the comics, she's more of a blank slate. They also added more backstory to Thrag, and it really helps his character a lot more and shows his sick attachment to Argyl's Viltrum and his way about that. He's very opposing this season, opposed to what fans thought when he first debuted. They were mad that Thrag lost his aura, and then he immediately got it back the next episode by bitching Mark, Nolan, Oliver, and Thaddeus. So, yeah, I don't think it matters. Thrag is awesome, and Lee Pace does a great job voicing him. I cannot wait to hear more of him. We get to see more of the Scourge virus and its lasting damage. We get to see a younger Nolan, too. It's all very good world building that only benefits the story. One of my favorite changes is in the last episode this season, Season 8, where we see Mark go through way more trauma, and we see the Viltrumites being on Earth reveal is delayed. And we get to see Mark think of what's going to happen when they show up, only for it to be, not as violent as he thought. So, now on to the more controversial changes. To start, this season was the first season to have an original episode. That means everything in the episode was from the show and wasn't in the comic. Episode 4, titled Herm, is about how Mark goes to hell to help Damien Darkblood stop an evil threat. Now, people don't really like this episode because it is quote-unquote filler or a quote-unquote side quest. And people had to wait an extra week to watch the Viltrumites War start. I personally think that this episode was perfectly fine. Obviously, the animation for this episode wasn't the best, but that was saved for the next few episodes, so it doesn't really matter. I think it's just good world building for the world of Invincible and sets up future plot points later in the show. So, and if you don't like this episode, just skip it. You don't have to complain about it online because you're still going to get your Viltrumite War in literally one episode, so it doesn't matter. Speaking of the Viltrumite War, there was one big change this season that set off a lot of the quote-unquote Invincible fans. Tech Jacket transitioned. Now, this change doesn't affect the story by any means. Tech Jacket still gets bitched by the Viltrumites and has to get saved by Alan every single time. This happens exactly like in the comics, by the way. There are no differences. Because, truth is, Tech Jacket is a fraud. The Invincible LARPers have made it their agenda that since Tech Jacket killed an Invincible variant, maybe two, depending on the source material, that means Tech Jacket is a top dog in the verse and can take on any threat they want. But Tech Jacket barely survived the Invincible War in the comic anyway. He had to self-destruct his suit, so, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. People are just trying to find things to complain about. And, man, Invincible fans are the worst. I get that the actual Tech Jacket fans might be upset because they aren't following the same characters in the book. But the LARPers gotta chill out. The show version is barely different from the comic, and they really only show up in this arc, so it doesn't matter. So, please stop complaining. So, is Season 4 of Invincible good? Yeah. It's the best season of the show. The animation this season is at its highest, especially with Conquest Round 2 and the destruction of Viltrum. It looks so sick. Thrag is very cool. He gets a lot of good scenes, a lot of good animation put to him. And the changes to his story, too, or the additions, are also really good. The story changes are great. The story this season is exciting, action-packed, and the actors are acting their asses off, and they are great. Shout out to Sandra Oh playing Debbie. That video, the behind the scenes, was really good. Really, really great to watch. Please go watch it. It's great. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.